ANZ Business Ready Facebook Live. And I've got with me tonight two fellas from Honcho. Now we've got Matt A and Matt B, otherwise known as Matt Abraham and Matt Pearson. So welcome. And I thought I might kick off with the first question, just to put everything in context. Now, you two have been in business since 2008. Is it what you thought it was going to be now, 8 years later?
Well, hi Naomi, it's great to see you again.
Yeah.
It's been a great journey, and it's been very different from how we imagined it would be. I think that we always knew where we wanted to go, and we still know where we want to go, but we've always never known the path to get there.
It's been a journey.
It's been a journey, and sometimes we're cutting down the lantana in the forest to find the path. But we've always kind of known where we wanted to go, but the actual pathway to get there has sometimes been lost in the lantana.
Wow. Look, you know, journey is a very interesting word to use when it comes to business, because lots of people have the idea they're going to start a business, but then where to from here?
Yeah.
Now, both of you came together in 2008 bringing different strengths. So maybe if you just give us a little bit a background of where you were before you came together, and a little bit about what Honcho does, so everybody knows.
Sure. Well, I was in Japan up until 2008. And made a decision after 3 years there to return to Australia and start Business Switch.
So you were working in agency land beforehand?
I had actually an international trail before that, and then I've been an entrepreneur, as you know, for a while, Naomi. It happens sometimes, not necessarily by plan. And I was in Japan up until 2008. The market changed post GFC, and it was time to come back. And started Business Switch and returned back in 2009 and met Matt very soon after that.
Funny you should say that.
Oh.
Yeah,
we actually arranged to meet. There was a startup
weekend
out of Seattle. Business Switch, the company, the original company, Honcho now. Actually was going to be the sponsor of the event. Matt was going to organise it in Australia. They put us together. We ended up not doing anything, but we met in the Hilton Hotel just down here. And I ordered a whiskey and he ordered a beer. And from that moment, I'm thinking, this guy's not going to work out, you know. Yeah. But
it was just that I thought I was going to.
Now we're going to get to a question in about 2 seconds, but quickly, Honcho, what's your elevator pitch?
We're a business that helps people start businesses faster and hopefully make it easy along the way.
And this year we'll start over 100,000 businesses in Australia.
100,000 businesses in Australia. Wow, that's statistically significant.
Yep. I think it is. Yeah.
I know. How many businesses are started every year in Australia?
About 750,000.
Wow, bit of market opportunity there, just pointing out. Okay, let's go with the first question. So, CJ's up. Thank you for this question. Now, how fully formed was your business idea before you decided to commit to the full basis of what you now do? Like how far had you got? And given that you are in the business of startups, you know, are we practicing what we're preaching here?
So there was a business paper. I wouldn't call it a business plan. And off the back of that became the kind of working doc that Matt and I started to have this kind of conception of we wanted to help businesses start up globally.
We wanted to do something online.
And we wanted to do it online, and that was it was very aspirational. And in fact, I think the first month that we started working together, we started building up. It was called mystartupsquad.com.
Oh,
and it was very aspirational. It was like, you know, it's like we're going to
business anywhere in the world,
absolutely
as
anywhere.
long as it was in Sydney, Australia.
That's right.
Everything else is coming soon.
Of course, we got state-based laws. I mean,
but we found a lot of problems. The problems were not only did we you know, we didn't know how other markets operated that well. There wasn't a lot of technology around 7 or 8 years ago to actually be able to make these things work. So we ended up having to focus very, very narrow. We narrowcasted and focused on a niche, and then took that niche into the marketplace, and from there started building.
So the business model's changed. You started doing one thing, and then you say, "Oh, how do we take this to market?" And you moved.
Yeah, we focused on like maybe 1% of the grand vision, and that has taken a lot. You know, working on 1%, then 2%, then 3%, all the way up to now. We're finally back to doing something in the original vision, where we could take someone all the way from, hey, I have a great idea, through getting registered and setting up bank accounts and everything, all the way to getting online, getting basic IT set up, and then hopefully getting to the point where you could technically take a customer and start making your first dollar. So.
You know, this is the thing that really gives me the irrits. That's a nice word. I started my business way back in 2001, and can I just say, what you've just said, that you can literally get somebody online in a day, that took me 3 months. And
exactly.
the cost, like the sheer cost and the energy required, and I know I'm sounding like an old person, but even also all of the cloud-based computing that is now available to us, that is per person, and how it goes. I remember I spent, anyway, let's not go there. Let's move on to Lee Denham. Thank you for the next question.
Hey, Lee.
What were the pitfalls or surprises you experienced starting out, and what is your valuable lesson out of those? Because it is true, there's always problems in business, but it's what we learn from it that makes the difference.
There were lots of pitfalls. I mean, there were issues.
You were a surprise. I didn't expect you.
Well, yeah, I mean, you were a pleasant surprise. There were, I'm not sure. I'm not sure. Pitfalls. I think there are a lot of issues you face, and I think as we roll through a business growth period, startup and growth, every day, every week, there's going to be things that are going to be hurdles. Yeah. So I'm not sure they're falls or pitfalls, but they're more like hurdles that you just got to climb over or walk around.
Did you find any other business opportunities inside those hurdles?
Yeah, I think there've been a lot, and actually, what we're doing with Honcho covers a lot of territory as well. So it's been, I think that the difficult part of the journey has kind of been to find the right path and the most the fastest path. Matt loves to talk about Occam's razor all the time, and finding the simplest path through. And for 100,000 clients as well, you're trying to take all these people on a journey really, really fast in those early stages. So, so deciding what to add, what to build.
How many in your team?
So we've got nearly 100 people now.
Right, okay. So 100 people. 8 years ago you didn't have 100 people. Yeah, exactly. So sometimes I look around the Red Balloon office and I go, well, I wonder what they all do. I used to do everything all by myself. So one of my greatest challenges was in growing the team and making sure the right person was doing the right thing. And I had some very expensive lessons in terms of everybody thinking everybody else is doing things and nobody taking responsibility, or vice versa, everybody working on the one problem and all taking credit for it. So tell us about your people journey.
Matt's a bit of a process freak.
Yeah.
So it makes it's a really good asset to the business, because he wants to get in and put processes around everything and make things work smoothly. The way we did it, though, was really focus on different departments and working, getting them. So first, our customer experience team, our customer service team, that started because one day I hung up on a customer and said, "This call's terminated." Hung the phone up, and Matt goes, "Well, you're never making a customer service call again. We need to build a team
we need professionals for this.
We need to protect our customers from ourselves."
So, and vice versa. I was like, I was managing a couple of businesses early on and doing all my own bookkeeping and stuff, and Matt just said, "What are you doing? Like, you're wasting so much time doing that." And I'm just a bit of a control freak that way. And he just said, here's a bookkeeper, just go, everything's going to get better. And it turned out I was a control freak who was doing everything wrong anyway. So it was a huge waste of time.
It can be really hard. Also, who you have around you like you had each other to hold the mirror up and say, "Mate, it's not where your strengths are, and other people do this really great." Come on, let's go to the next one. So, Suji Kim, how did you keep yourselves motivated in the early stages, other than the cliche passion?
I think whiskey is a good starting point, and
it's a clear motivator.
And then a second whiskey. Staying motivated is hard. I mean, I think individually, even collectively, you'd have different issues. Like, it's great to be in a partnership, and that relationship, when one person's down, the other person picks up. When the other person's down, and vice versa. But when both people are up, it can just go absolutely crazy and be too excitable.
This is amazing. We could do this, and then we'll expand.
And when both people are down, it's a horrible world to be in, and you're just looking at each other and just going like, the world is shocking. But there are so many. I think by stepping stones, the way we kind of look is boxing it in and saying, this is where we're going to get to, and then this is where we're going to get to next, and this is where we're going to get to next. And by doing these stepping stones, you're not looking at this huge mountain to climb. You're just taking little chunks at a time to achieve goals, and you get rewarded for those goals, and that kind of keeps you motivated. And then you have a whiskey.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, that might be your reward. It's so true what you say, though, about reward. So this is how I reward myself. So when I started the business and had no customers, and 2 months and 4 days, and we've all heard that story, and had no customers, that very first customer was so precious, and I didn't hang up the phone. I was straight on the phone, you know. But then the thing that I still do, is if I'm ever losing my passion or my purpose, or I go, why do I do this? I can't fix it. Everything's going pear-shaped, or I've lost an account, or whatever it is, and I'm not feeling good about whatever's going on, I just listen to customer stories. And then I see the impact that I've had on another person's life. And whether it be at Red Balloon or Ready or the other businesses that I'm involved with, we're in business to solve a problem, and when we can connect with how we made the world a slightly better place for another human being, then that's what keeps me going. And in fact, my purpose, I thought I started Red Balloon for a lifestyle, but my purpose actually came from listening to a customer. So everybody goes on an experience that, how was it for you? And I used to read every single one. I don't anymore, but I still get voice recordings of messages that come into our customer experience team. But this guy who wrote to us, and he said, for my father's 84th birthday, I gave him a flight on a DC-3. I picked him up from the Central Coast in New South Wales and drove him to Bankstown Airport, which is about 3 hours. He said, my father was excited like a little boy going to a birthday party.
That's just awesome.
When he got there, I flew with him, and on the way home, he shared with me that as a young man, he'd heard the first DC-3 flight on the radio, and he'd always wanted to be on one. He said, my father is a very quiet man. I'll always remember today as one of the days he spoke.
Oh, cool.
I just need to know that I made a difference to another human being, and then I can just keep going.
It's interesting, isn't it?
So, anyway, that's a
beautiful story.
Yeah.
That was such a great question. I'd really love to give a copy of the book to see. So anyway, if you could inbox me, and then inbox us at ANZ, so that you can we can get your address, and I'll send you out a copy of my book, and I'll sign that on passion for you, because I really appreciate that lovely question.
And I'll sign the back page.
So hey, Alan Manades has given us this question. What are the top 5 questions we should be asking ourselves when starting out? Our top 5 questions.
Ooh.
Now, it's interesting that he says top 5, because there's this really great book called The One Thing. So the one thing might be to answer the one thing, but I have 5 things I looked at for, and so let me jump in on this one, because when businesses come into Shark Tank, I'm looking for things, and these are the 5, and it happens to be 5 things. So given that we've got 5, let's answer this one.
Of course, no,
okay,
that works
for me. The first question is, Alan, the first question is, ask yourself, what problem am I solving? The second question is, how many people have that problem? The third question is, how do I find those people? How do I access them? The fourth question is, what is it going to cost me to get them? And the last question, the most important question, is at what point do I get a return? So it's quite a simple formula that I look at. What's the problem? How many people have it? Who are they? But that might not be necessarily the 5 things for starting a business, but that's what I'm looking for when people come into the tank. What other things do you think?
I would add a 6th to that, which is make sure the return, you're making enough profit to be able to pay yourself and also to invest back in the business.
Yeah.
And I think I find that's a kind of a common story. People do make money, but they don't make enough money, and businesses should be profitable. This idea of us in business not making money and not being profitable, it's all well and good, but like a business needs to make enough money so that the founders or the people, the management and the team and the staff all get paid, and that there's a buffer zone to be paid in case of bad times or tough times. And the second part is to make enough money to be able to invest that money back into that business to grow the business. If you don't have enough profit in the business, you can't invest back into the business.
Exactly right. And Steve says it all the time. We're very glad that you're a social enterprise, but without the means, you can't change the world. You've actually got to be running a profitable business before you can contribute to society. So Helen Pike, we need to get more questions through, otherwise we'll never get to them all. Helen Pike, thank you for this question. I run a successful health food store for 6 years and am interested in increasing sales online. How do I best approach this? Interesting.
Yeah.
Online, health food, definitely a trend. Everybody's looking at what they're eating.
I think there's a lot of competition in the space probably already. So I mean, I would probably start niche. I mean, rather than saying let's load up 4,000 or 5,000 different products across a range of different SKU style, package sizes and stuff like that. Focus on maybe 1 or 2 products. build a using a shopping cart of some sort, like a Shopify or the likes, to get your products online, and specialising in that, and giving yourself a unique.
That's a really good point. One of the things I say is, what do you want to be world famous for? Like, what are you the absolute best of the world in that? And the other thing is to look at, and is, if I don't have those strengths, who does? So that's an interesting point about partnerships. So, Helen, you have a retail business, but your strength is not online, yet there's other people who have online strength and their strength might not be in health. So partnerships, now you two have been in partnership, and it wasn't about the whiskey and the beer. What is it that you brought to the business, and why did you make that choice about coming together in a partnership?
I think shared values. I mean, I think like both of us really have this shared love of just pursuing freedom, and throughout the journey as well, we keep coming back to that the most important thing isn't necessarily there are great things that we're doing. We think we're changing the world and can have a positive impact and stuff like that. But if there's not a baseline of freedom, then it loses magic for us. So I think and having that shared, that's a really clear value that we both share, and it's super important for us. I think that's helped, and it was definitely why we came together.
And I think that coming together is part of it. The other part is actually actually growing together. I mean, if we've been in business for over together for 8 years plus now, and I've changed during that time. Matt's changed during that time. The business has changed, and the market's changed. Technology's changed, and all of these things change around. So it's a dynamic, and the relationship's got to remain dynamic, because if you just keep it back in the period and where you were when you met, and everything else is changing around, it's not going to survive. So having some sort of comprehension, I mean, we're very conscious of that we're actually dynamics in our world, and things change in our environments, individually and collectively, and we allow each other the freedom to be able to pursue and be able to change and embrace that. It's an opportunity.
I think that's such an important point, because people often, the question is so often like, what do I need to do to start a business, and how do I start a business and stuff like that? And how do I get my business idea ready, and those kinds of questions. The other thing to understand is that you're going to go on a journey. It's like being a professional in anything. You're going to have to learn, and you're going to learn so much along the way. Sometimes you can only learn a lot of those things by just jumping in and getting started. But also not to be so heavy on yourself. You are going to have to learn and stretch and grow.
Great leaders learn.
Yeah.
And you are a leader, and this is what people often don't think. They go, I'm just starting my own business. No, you're a leader in our community. You need to take responsibility for that. Who are you? In Ready to Soar, I spent a whole section talking about partnerships. My business partner is my ex-husband. And here's the irony, is we make really good business partners, because he brings governance, compliance, finance, accounting. I'm like, yes, let's change the world. It'll be fabulous. But a lot of people fall into business with friends, with maybe their husband, with all sorts of people, and not necessarily making what I would say a powerful choice. So if there's one thing, Helen, that I would say to you, if you're looking at a partnership or you're looking at doing something different, try and work out what your strengths are and look for somebody who complements that. There is a yin and yang between the two of you. I can see that.
Definitely.
And the ability to be straight with each other and hold each other to account, I think, is a very important element of a partnership.
Add one little thing too. The other thing too is it's neither of us. Our approach to it is like, who's actually doing more for the business. But both of us will get. One of us will get guilty if we're feeling
we're terribly competitive that way as well.
For the business, and I think that's a really important thing in our cases. It actually pushes us on. It's a big driving force.
So is there a good cop and a bad cop? Or maybe I shouldn't go there. Okay, let's go on to Pete Hefner. My business is set up and website built. What are the best forums, conferences or network events to get my name and business out there? Pete, I need to tell Pete something. Life is tough. There's no surefire answer. And I don't know the industry or the business that you're in, so I can't just say I'll go to this event or this conference. But what I do know is standing out is going to be really important, and knowing what you stand for. What sort of advice are you going to give Pete?
I think for a start, he's got the right attitude, which is you've got to get into the market in some way. I mean, it's the people who don't get out into the market and their business doesn't build the relationships to actually, whether it's online market or whether it's at a networking or a conference or some sort of thing like that. you've got to engage with the marketplace to not only be able to sell product and build relationships, but also to tweak your market offer and actually make it more attractive to the marketplace. So I think he's got the right attitude. I mean, I don't know his industry sector either, but just say he's an architect, then maybe there are, rather than going out to conferences and stuff, if you've just done somebody's home, maybe knock on everybody's door on the street. That's good networking, and say, hey, I've just done this place here. Other people can get onto online forums. I mean, there's some great online learning tools out there. Yeah. And then there are organisations, if you've got turnover like for over $1 million, there's Entrepreneurs Organisation, which is a good organisation as well, which allows you to build relationships and help you in your business better. But yeah, just get out there and do something. Do something. He's on the right path.
And in the early days, I think we, also to be diverse and go and check out a lot of different things, and and maybe in things that are related industries, but you never know what you're going to find, and you never know.
Yeah, you can learn from other industries. I completely agree. I'm a big one for test and targeting. I know I live in the online space. Test something, see what happens, what difference did I make, and moving on. But the other thing is, Pete, that it's not necessarily one size does not fit all. So for many businesses, and then start testing and targeting, and see how you go. But likewise, it's a journey. A little bit of success does not mean you've got it all sorted out. You've got to keep going. So, Ravisha, what have we got here? What advice can you give to a young person who doesn't know what the exact career path is for them? I'd say read Live What You Love. That's another book I wrote just recently. And Ravisha, I actually don't be facetious about that. I have 4 young people in my life. Our kids are between the age of 18 and 24. I know I look fabulously young given how old they all are. But the thing is, I wrote that for them as they go off into their journey about secondary education and ultimately careers. I don't know if they've read it, but that's not the point. The thing is, I do want people to make powerful choices about what they're passionate about, what they're interested in, and not doing things just for the sake of it. Our work life is a long journey, and but also saying, I want to be the CEO without putting the work in. So in that book I covered 3 things, actually make it 4. Passion, persistence, like how do you really stick at something, positivity, because we all get knocks, and obviously your sense of purpose, which is how you contribute to the planet to make it better. So what else do you think a young person needs to do?
I think what's really cool at the moment is that people are seeing starting a business as a viable career, and you're not knocked for it anymore.
Straight out of school.
Yeah.
Never worked anywhere else. Never gone to university.
And it's
Briella,
it's prestigious. Hero. It's not like you're not kind of shunned from society anymore. I think in years past there was this almost a stigma about, okay, you're just starting a business. Are you an entrepreneur, or are you just unemployed?
And the term entrepreneur used to be a naughty word, right? I mean, there's Alan Bond and the Christopher Skases, and you say, I'm an entrepreneur, and people go, oh, no. Better watch my wallet.
Somebody said that to me, and I was like,
entrepreneur in the room. Now you're an entrepreneur, and it's kind of like...
But I think back to your point, Matt, is you've got to keep learning, and it is a viable option. But what do you want to do? What problems do you want to solve? And you've got to keep learning no matter what. And one of the things I do say to young people, if they want to start their career in the business of their own, you must keep learning, because otherwise if you grow a business to any size, what you do want to do is make sure you understand enough about business, commercial reality, cash flow, money, so that you can make sure you're making good, robust decisions. Anyway, come on, William Patu and Jan Martinez and Madan. Everybody's asked the same question, or they're all asking at the same time. There are many angel investor sites in Australia. What do you recommend? What do investors look for in a business, and how do I look for seed funding? First of all, did you ever take investment in your business?
So we have no external investors. So Matt and I own the business, and
they call that bootstrapping. That's the fancy word.
Well, and no disrespect to angel investors and investors. I mean, my opinion is that early stage, it's probably best to try and keep hold of as much of the business as possible. The stories that I know of friends, both in Australia and overseas, who have actually sold down too much of their business too early on, and when they do exit, if they are successful and they do exit, they end up with just a minuscule amount that they've actually got to go off and start all over again with the learnings, but not necessarily with any of the rewards. So investment's important. And certainly some business models require investment earlier than others, but wherever possible, I think trying to retain a significant stake in the business, if not all of it. Debt is not necessarily a bad thing sometimes. It's a good thing.
We would be at a bank event, love. ANZ, just saying.
Oh, really?
There's a good idea. Speak to the bank. Hey, William, Jan and Madan, that's a really, really great question, of which I spent plenty of time in this book answering. I talk about the difference between angel investment, seed capital, I talk about Series A, I talk about grants, I talk about bank funding. So William, Jan and Madan, I think we're going to send all three of you a copy of the book. Can you please inbox us at ANZ with your street address so we can pop it in the mail and I'll sign it for you. But it's actually quite a deep and complex question of which I go through. In my opinion, the best way to fund a business is get customers to fund it. In other words, when customers are buying your product or your service, it demonstrates that you have a market for it, and it gives you a sense of safety and security. At the end of the day, if you've got your customers spending money with you, it might grow a little bit slower, but you also might sleep a little bit more at night. For some businesses, taking an investor is just not the right thing to do for them. I talk about it as well, about why did you start your business, and one of them might be freedom, and if you take investment too early on, you might not have the freedom you think you have. So I'll leave that with you. So the next question that we've got is from Christina Costa. How did you deal with having a big idea that relied heavily on the participant of external parties, i.e. no one lists with the red balloon? You're absolutely right. And it's funny because Christina, when people come into the tank, and it's a Shark Tank, I should say properly, and it's a two-sided marketplace. So let's think about Parkhound, who actually I met at an ANZ event some time ago, and then they came into Shark Tank. They have both parking spaces, but they also need people to come and rent those car spaces. So it's a two-sided marketplace. Red Balloon is a two-sided marketplace. Honcho is not a two-sided marketplace. They have customers, they have the product, they sell it directly. So what that means is that in a two-sided marketplace, you have to equally spend your love and attention and marketing to both groups of people. So I've always said at Red Balloon that if we don't have any lollies on the shop shelf, we've got nothing to sell. So making sure that we bring people in, but also that we're looking for a supplier community that match our values. And you spoke about values before, because they're accountable and responsible for my brand essence. Who am I? What do I stand for? What do I believe in? Are they going to deliver on my customer promise? And having transparency with our supply partners and making sure that they can see how customers talk about them is how we keep it very transparent over and over again. And if things aren't going right, in fact, Matt, that reminds me of the very first time I met you, which is now 12 years ago. Wow. And you're like, oh my goodness, I didn't think you'd bring this up. But I met you at a networking event for EO, and you said, I went on this Red Balloon experience and it wasn't what I expected.
Oh, really?
Do you remember? You took a team of your EO buddies out on a Red Balloon experience, and it was a rally day.
Oh, yeah, I do.
So you see, I haven't forgotten.
Yeah. Because the guy wouldn't let us get it out of first gear the whole time. And how can you rally in first gear the whole way?
But you told me that.
That doesn't make sense,
right? So
you
told me that 12 years ago. And I know I did it because I was like, oh my gosh, my customer promise is not what I think it is. Oh, I have to go and fix it. And that, because I listened to you, helped us work on this system of how do we make sure that we're transparent every single...
Am I the secret of your success, sir? Am I?
But no, it's about listening and responding. Anyway, it's about listening and responding, and it's never finished. But I remember it so clearly because I was so embarrassed.
I would also say your marketplace is a tough marketplace. The two-sided marketplace is a much, much harder marketplace than our marketplace, which has just got one channel and one set of customers. It's a tough business model. It's probably too tough for me to take on. I mean,
so I think there's a third customer set, and that's your people, your employees. So the thing that I say is employees are your new customers. You treat your suppliers exactly the same way as you would treat a customer, because if you don't have suppliers, you haven't got a business. So we give equal love and attention to all three of those groups, and when they come together, music is created, or whatever. No, Darren Taylor, here's the next question. How do I take my product from an idea to a prototype and business and limit this being copied?
Okay. So, I'll
Depends.
start. You know, an idea is an idea.
Idea is worth nothing unless it's executed.
Nothing. And like so many people, I mean, we start up a lot of businesses, and we get a lot of people calling, and you know, there is always going to be a percentage of people who say, I've got this idea, and they're so conscious of not wanting to reveal in case somebody steals it. But the reality is, an idea is nowadays worth basically, it's nominal value, if any value, and so the reality is that the product or the service in market is where the value is, and especially if you've got customers who are paying for it. And I would add, customers preferably paying up front for it, so it improves your cash flow.
Yeah, I think it can be dangerous because you believe so strongly in what you're doing, and you think it's the next big thing, and it might be the next big thing. But if you don't tell anyone about it, you never validate your product, you could spend your life savings getting it to market, and then someone tells you, oh, well, that's been done before, or that's not quite right, or that doesn't work for anyone. So you've got to reveal, I think, that the way the world works now, everything's so rapid, you have to get to market really fast.
We had a guy there was a guy that we knew, and he was setting up an online limousine booking site in Australia. This is before Uber, and like for years he kept working on building, tweaking, and the market just took him over. And of course Uber came out, and then everything that he'd invested. So the markets nowadays, speed is of the essence. Speed to market,
absolutely.
Innovation and speed.
Look, I would also say that if you've got something that's really unique and very innovative, I go and speak to a professional. So with the HEG, which is a peg with hooks that I invested in the first series of Shark Tank, and I haven't got one here. If I can find one over there somewhere, I'll bring it on. But the first thing he did when he came up with the idea after he sketched it up was take it to a patent attorney to find out whether it was unique, just to find out if it's unique. And it doesn't mean that he wouldn't have gone ahead with it, but there is a process. Now, I'm going to give this one as well, because guess what this book says? It says, turning your brilliant idea into a business you love. Isn't that the question we just answered? So that has got to go out there. Can you inbox me, please?
Can we score a signed copy as well?
If you behave yourselves. So inbox us at ANZ, and I'll send that one out. Because like that, did you take the question off the cover of the book? I mean, Anyway, there you go. So that's really great. Let me see if I've just. Here we go. Oh. Here's a HEG. So that's a peg with hooks, known as a HEG. ANZ customer, by the way. And anyway, there you go. There's a peg with hooks.
Wow.
Brilliant.
And that has 6 patented elements, and it is exported now to 26 countries around the world, including China.
And was the investment raised to cover the patent costs and those kinds of things, legal fees?
That was part of it. Okay. Absolutely. That was part of his growth strategy. Hayden Dibb, hi, what tip would you give a creative person who feels they need to have more of a business mindset?
Start a business.
Yeah, baptism by fire.
But this is the battle between the profession and the business.
Yeah.
Whether you're a creative, or whether you're an architect, or whether your profession is plumbing, then there's the business side. The business side you still need to have the business skill set to be able to operate an effective business. And those are things that you learn by being in business, and you learn from having people around you that are knowledgeable, and by reading Naomi's books.
Did you see that?
By visiting the Honcho site, and by banking with ANZ. Hey.
No problem.
Next question.
I think it's exactly true. You've got to play to your strengths. I do think, I would like to see basic accounting and bookkeeping in every single high school, because I think we need to be financially responsible. I think the earlier that people understand about how money works,
and
how
coding,
you make money.
and a bit of coding.
And coding as well. They're 2 languages that doesn't matter whether you're a researcher or an artist. If you understand how money works, you're going to be far more viable. But the fact that we can't do that right now with our education system, then I would make sure that you go and do some course, even if it's not your strength, that ultimately you might find out somebody else to support you in that, whether it be outsourced, a business partner, a business manager, a coach. But at least taking responsibility to understand the language of money, I think, is a very, very important thing. And there are plenty of courses available at the local courses.
And I would also add very quickly, I know we're short of time, but understanding your P&L, I mean, yes, there's balance sheets, but profit and loss is just the if you don't understand what money is coming in and what money is going out, and work out are you in positive or in
flow.
negative, and then cash flow managing, those things are just fundamental.
Okay, Richard, can we send out a book to the last person?
Oh, we should send 3.
If you can inbox, please inbox us at ANZ with your address. That'd be great. Richard Cartmel and Yan Martinez, at what point did you say, I'm going to need to bring someone other than myself, and how did it feel? Did you use a coach or mentor to help you with your business? Why don't we tackle the second one first? Did you use a coach or a mentor? How was your relationship? Did you ever need a referee, an umpire?
No. I think we've dealt with it as we've ever.
So I know that you are a member of Entrepreneurs Organisations. You have peer-to-peer support. So you have other people to talk to outside your business.
Unfortunately, I don't have a lot of time nowadays, as you know, Naomi, and so but certainly I do a couple of the international stuff. But for early stage businesses, that networking is not just about building relationships and selling stuff to. It's actually about knowledging up about areas of the business that you're not good at. If you're really, really good at sales and marketing, but you're weak at human resources, there's probably somebody within EO or through other networks as well who actually know about that and who are happy to share. So that sort of networking is really, really important, and especially in the earlier stages of the business.
Yeah, I know myself that one of my greatest challenges was around people. When I'd been in corporate life, I had the feedback that I wasn't a particularly good manager and I wasn't very inclusive. So I read everything, and kind of ironic that we've now got the business Ready, redii.com, which is all about people, engaging people on the growth journey. So it's kind of ironic that actually what was my biggest problem ended up becoming what I think is my next big thing, which is ready.com. Great question. Okay, here we go. Paolo Angelo Galang. If you were to design the perfect team of 4 to run your company, what characteristics would they have? I thought he was going to ask us to put together the first, the ideal company board.
Can I declare something? I actually think Paolo might work on our team. Yeah. So I've got a hunch. So Paolo, you would be one of the members. Matt, myself, you and one other.
Insider trading going on here.
No. I'm declaring.
Oh,
if Paolo, if you don't work on the team,
Honcho peeps are out there ruining the system. Good on you. Okay, let's get one from the Ready team and Red Balloon just to really run the system.
Paolo, you're on the team.
Oh, fantastic. It would be interesting, though. I sometimes wonder, sometimes that we got that.
We didn't set that up, by the way. I had no idea.
Okay, Yunzi Ching, how do you manage work-life balance? Absolute silence.
Yeah.
Who said we did?
I try and do 1/3, 1/3, 1/3. So 1/3 of my life is business, 1/3 is family, and 1/3 is me. And I think the third.
Do you get the sleep part?
I get to sleep, yes. But I also think there's a lot of merging of all of that, but I try and keep that 1/3, 1/3, and especially the third about me tends to get lost a little bit in amongst the business and the family stuff. But it's when you lose too much of that, actually things for me start to go a little bit skewy. So I try and pull it back to like 1/3 business, ultimately, though, it's a hodgepodge. But I do try and keep some of it like that.
As we say, it's a journey and it changes. So I think you go through phases in a business where sometimes it's easy to get back to balance, and you kind of go. In the start, it's not necessarily like that. I think work-life balance is very difficult to manage when you're a startup phase. After that, then you can have some times where you can manage that better. And then if you're in a big growth phase like we are now, it's harder to manage. But I also believe that you can live out of balance for a little bit, so that you can live in balance for the rest of your life potentially. So
and I think the first 2 years are tough. I mean, it's just hard work getting traction.
Look, I completely agree with you. In fact, I talk about it again in the book that I think work-life balance is a term that was given to me to make me feel bad about myself.
It does feel like that sometimes, doesn't it?
I don't have it. But, if I want to change the world and make it slightly different, it's going to be inconvenient. And so I do not, but that's what I chose. I chose that, and it doesn't occur to me as work. When I hear what people say to me, the difference I've made, whether it's in their business for Ready or whatever it is, then I feel really great. People come up to me and say, I started my business because I read your book, or then I go, I know I did it. So that's the life I chose. But as long as people choose it, and I think there's a lot of people who are working very, very hard, muddling their way through, and And it's absolutely okay. Life isn't perfect, and we're just doing the best we can. And not everybody else has got their life sorted. So the point is to know when, as you pointed out, Matt, to put up your hand and go, actually, I've now done this for 2 years. It's time to look at it and restructure it because I've been on the treadmill just a little too long. So I think
and sometimes you find your best ideas when you actually step back, because you can get too close to it very easily as well. And you don't want to get lost in it. And sometimes it really just takes a bit of time away, just tune out for a couple of weeks and really switch off, and then you come back to it totally fresh. And I think some of the best innovations come out of those kinds of times as well. So.
That's so true. Oh, it's Alan. What are your top must-reads for fiction or non-fiction?
I think Winston Churchill's biography. It's awesome. There's three huge, big bound volumes, and there's so much learning in that about how Winston Churchill lived his younger life, and all the way through the war and stuff like that. And there, for me, every page there was something really, really focused and worth learning. And the fact that he started drinking champagne from lunchtime every day was also
not whiskey. So Matt, do you have a book?
Yeah, I just recently I actually got onto Peter Thiel's 021, sorry, and loved it. I mean, I just think that's a fantastic kind of look at, and a little bit of a contrarian view. His whole thing is being contrarian, which is fantastic. I think there needs to be more of that as well. So that's been really good. Fiction. I mean, where do you begin with fiction? It's just there's too much. Yeah, I mean, I don't know how to answer that in a context for business. What fiction in business works.
Yeah, it's funny. I picked up a book at Christmas, which was a Jeffrey Archer book, and I pretty much read all of his. And I read this book that I got at a jumble sale, and I go, I haven't read this one, and I started reading it. And the very last line it said, and then he got off the boat and was arrested for murder. I said, there's no mention of murder in the rest of the book. What have I missed? What have I missed? I only find out there's a 7-part book written over 10 years, so I'm still going.
Yeah, that doesn't fit into the entrepreneurial thing.
But there's one book that I just absolutely love and adore, and it's called Boys in the Boat. It's about a bunch of lumberjacks and labourers who got in a boat. It's also a biography. Got in a boat in 1928 in Seattle, Washington, and it's about their journey to the Olympics to row in front of Hitler. Won't have any spoilers on this conversation, but it's just the most incredible story of oneness and alignment and unity. And it's just a gorgeous, gorgeous read, and I could not put it down. Awesome. And it was written by one of the daughters posthumously after the crew of 8 and the Cox were no longer there. So it's a beautiful story. Wow. Alan, top 5 people to learn from?
Each other
real
to
people?
Start with.
Yeah.
Not Pikachu?
Yeah. I'm out there looking. That's an interesting question, top 5 people from Learn To, because we had a question before about mentoring that we didn't really answer. And I find the most important thing, whether it's in coaching or mentoring, is what is the question that you need answered right now? And then you look for the person who might have an answer for that question, because a mentor might not be with you, or a coach might not be with you for the whole journey, because they've all got different experiences. But for me, it's the formulation of the question. What is the real question you need solved right now?
I can name one person straight off the bat who you know as well, and who sold his business a couple of years ago, a guy called James Stevens. He owned the Roses Only business. It was a very successful online business selling flowers, roses throughout Australia, and he exited successfully, and a great family business and led by James. And he actually brought me into EO, and a real mentor. He was one of the first person who actually showed me that you could actually get these businesses online and actually build something that was sustainable and had impact as well. So he would be one of he would be in my top 5. I mean, I think top 5 is a very personal list. Naomi, you'd be on my top 5 because you're just awesome. Matt, you'd be there too.
Oh, hey, thank you.
And that's. What about you? A couple of. Do I figure? Am I there?
You top of the list. Top of the list. Can't get you off the list. It's just Yeah, I mean, I torture myself with sort of comparing you know, I do sick things to myself, like I have a Google alert on Elon Musk's name. So I wake up in the morning and like the first thing is like, okay, the business is all right. Oh no, Elon's doing things again. It's like, oh, it's like, okay, what are you doing? Just get out of bed and do something. So I think, and I think looking to people like who are doing interesting things in the world and really far-reaching things like that, with this long-term worldview, I think are quite cool. And I think there's a lot of short-termism especially in the online space, that is cool and necessary, because we're in a short-term sort of phase of the world, especially in software and with the internet. It's very interesting to look at people who are doing anything in hardware and I guess you know, long-term future planning for society. I mean, I think we're going to see more of that as the internet matures as well. Yeah,
you know, I think heroes are really important, and often we can observe our heroes from afar, like Elon Musk. I have a hero, her name is Lindsay Catamol. She founded a business in Melbourne, in the 1980s in IT, in mid-sized computers. My mother happened to work for her also as a professional, and I just sat in the distance and thought, wow, one day I could do that. And I think it's important that we do have heroes, we do have role models, and they might never, ever know. And I guess that's why the three of us came on tonight, is because we want people to know that it's absolutely possible. Alan, it was such a great question. We're going to send you a copy of the book. Definitely. This is going to be the last question, and I know it's gone really fast, but we'll have to come back at another stage. But Loretta, here's your question. What is your best piece of advice to get business ready? Boom, boom.
Wow. Well, read the book. I would say read the book, open a bank account, get started with Honcho.
And start with Honcho.
I know. Look,
these are things. These are tools that we've
get active, get involved, get it.
So here's my thing. Actually, it's like, is this game made for you? So you might have a craft, you might have something. Do you like the sales game? But before you put yourself in and spend a lot of money, maybe get yourself a stall at the local market and whatever it is, or build a mock-up of the app or the website without spending a lot of money. Beta test. It's what we call minimal viable product. Literally prototype something and find out if somebody would spend money on it, even before you register the business. Just prototype. And then if you think that people... And by the way, don't keep asking your family and friends, because they'll just tell you what you want to hear. Show potential customers. Family and friends are so nice. Customers are a little more brutal. So get yourself a prototype. What is it? And find out if this is the life for you, because it's not for everybody. So thank you so much. I'm sorry we didn't get to all the questions. How quick did that go?
Very,
I know. That's because we speak so quickly. That's incredible. Thank you. Please ask. Please tune in again. We're going to do this next month again in August, and I'll be interviewing some other great founders to share their insights, because everybody's journey is different. Thanks for joining. Have your questions ready for August, and we'll see you on the ANZ site again. Bye.